in the den of iniquity. Vicinity no pretty, calamity fi hit we any moment. What's a pity? Tomorrow never certain. What dwells behind the curtain? The face of evil smirking with the shifty eyes averting. It's not a steady bubble that either pop or topple. Many will fall and stumble. Let the dozers gather rubble. From LA to Colorado, Guinea to Burkina Faso. Cannons could reach the towers and the troops will storm the castle. I say, run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. So run, run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. I say, run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. Lord, run, run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. With the rubble steady rising, and hearts are compromising. Convictions here are stifling, making evil appetizing. The fists are steady forming, and countenance is falling. Defenses are withdrawing, possibilities are falling. In these your circumstances, evil will make advances. Pick up your sword and lances, and be sure to take your stances. Victory is never promised, the battle is upon us. Gather the brave and honest, and the righteous in your corners.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Getting Ish Done with Ike and Dr. Thunder. So let's get right into it. F your dreams. F your dreams. What could that possibly mean? Well, it doesn't mean to follow your dreams. No. That's not what the F means in that statement. This is a statement that we're not surprised at in a hard-nosed, cynical, or shall we say pragmatic world. So the reason for that kind of a statement existing is not surprising to us. But what we're going to go over today using some recent footage, well, not too recent, something from a few months ago by Anton Daniels in the Lapeef Network. Okay. How many of you guys watch that show? How many of you guys watch that show and enjoy the back and forth that goes there? It can be entertaining sometimes. It can be quite entertaining. And Anton Daniels says, F your dreams. And what we're going to do today is we're going to examine what exactly did he mean by that vis-a-vis success, vis-a-vis getting ish done, okay? Vis-a-vis being realistic, maybe not pessimistic or optimistic, but realistic. Maybe not cynical, but maybe pragmatic. We're going to need to unearth what the F means and what the dreams mean in the whole F your dreams. Okay. So, Dr. Thunder, how are you doing? You ready to get into this?
I totally am. I'm totally ready.
Are.
This is this is gonna be a lot of fun. F your dreams.
Okay. F your dreams. Okay, cool. So let's bring ourselves up to speed. Okay. So this happened at the Lapeef Network show, correct?
Yeah. You know,
Okay.
I was thinking that maybe because I was just kind of going through the video again, and if you played about the first 10 minutes of the video, that would set up the conversation perfectly.
Are you sure we want to play 10 minutes of it?
Well, you could play anywhere from, a couple minutes to 5 minutes or something. But, we'd stop in between and talk and stuff. But the first 10 minutes kind of does the whole thing.
Gotcha. So shoot me the link again. And while you do that. Okay,
it's in the private chat.
It's in the private chat. Okay. While you do that, or while I queue it up, I want you to basically give us some of the context. Was he speaking to a caller that called in, or no?
So it kind of started when it was like one of these open panel things that they do where they'll invite certain folks up, and it was a young guy he was talking to, and he was kind of giving the advice. And one of the women on the panel.
Why did the young guy call in?
I think he called in because I think that they had already sort of established that, F your dreams. So Anton kind of started with that and then began sort of unpacking that. One of the women on the panel was trying to give the sort of soft, follow your dreams and X, Y, and Z, and so his response to that was "F your dreams," and it was all about being practical, being laser focused on your goals. He brought up an interesting.
Hold on there for one second,
Yeah.
because and I think this is a part of where where our expertise is gonna come in, and we're gonna dissect the
Yep.
words there. You said "F your dreams," and in the same sentence, you're saying being practical and laser focused about your goals. What's this dreams
Right.
and goals stuff? Is it "F your goals"? If
Right.
it's "F your dreams," what do you mean? But
Yeah.
I guess
So
we'll
I
get into
don't.
it, right?
Yeah. I don't think that he means. Well, maybe I don't want to spoil it. Uh, so yeah, let's keep going. Let's get started.
All right, all right, all right. Okay, cool. So context has been given here. It's on the show. Somebody called in. Anton going with the "F your dreams," hard nosed aspect. Somebody else giving some other, you know, perspective. I hate that term, giving another perspective. Someone else was saying something soft, as you said. Okay, so let's go ahead. Uh, fair use.
No,
because she's
no.
beefing your
To
ego with all the
everybody,
shit
I
that
am.
you're talking.
To
But
everybody,
to me,
I
I don't
am.
have any loyalty to you because I don't know you, so I don't care.
It don't matter. It don't make what I'm
It doesn't
saying any
matter.
less true.
It does.
I'm still the
Because
man. At the end of the day, you talking based off of something that your family helped you with.
You're
I'm talking about
speaking in
something I built out the mud.
anecdotals. No,
It's
no.
different.
What are you talking about? My mom built this shit out the mud, and I helped her. As a
You
kid
not
when she
your
was
mom.
divorced.
You
At the
not
end of
your
the day,
mom.
and I
You
took
said
on
that
this
your
family business.
your family helped you.
Yes,
Mine
I took
didn't.
on this
I
family.
got mine out
took
the mud.
on
It's
the
different.
family business.
And at the end of
After
the day,
pursuing my
you
dreams,
still don't know
on the
what it
family
takes to be a
business.
man, and you can't coach a man on how to be.
Nobody
a man.
said I did.
Ever.
We're not talking about manhood.
Then
or
stop giving
misogyny.
men advice. You're
Again,
not built
nobody's
like that.
talking to men specifically. There are women on
Yes,
the chat,
we are.
and I see women
Yes, we are.
in the chat. So
Yes,
unless
we
you're
are.
telling all these women that they don't matter, and the only people that matter are the men in the chat,
You don't
then go
matter.
ahead
So
and
the
use them.
women, fuck your dreams. Same advice.
Anton, I wanted to. I just got a
You
job.
don't matter.
I'm trying to get up enough money. I'm trying to join your Patreon, so I'm gonna get up enough money so I could join that and learn from you. But
Send me an email, bro. I'll give you a couple complimentary.
What did he say? What did this dude say? Right, I missed it. He wants to join
So
the Patreon. He wants to do what?
Yeah, he's trying to join the Patreon, and I guess he was having some trouble or whatever, and so Anton just comped him 2 months. He says because he's a young guy, he wants to try to help him.
Okay. All right. And someone's going, oh, on that. Okay, great.
Every months, just to make sure you look out. You're a young boy. I got to make sure you're taken care of.
It doesn't matter what's practical. It doesn't matter what's logical. It doesn't matter what people say you can do, what most people do, what is the statistic. Do what you want to do and go after it with everything you have. You have your whole life to work a regular ass job, to work a regular job, to do all those regular things.
Yep.
You are young. Go after your dreams with everything you got, because you can always go be a regular adult.
Yeah, that's always.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So there's one thing I want to say about this, and I'll just keep on playing. Okay. I don't know if you have anything to say yet. Okay. But basically, people treat everybody like they were Einstein, right? People treat the average regular person that you don't know that like they're this genius. It's like, oh my God, I know this kid. He's Mozart. He was composing at 6 years old. He needs to follow his dreams. This is not a regular kid. I tell you, sir, you need to let this kid into your conservatory. I tell you, he needs to get into your physics program. You have no idea what this kid is capable of. That's what they treat every average idiot like. Okay. And you know me, I'm
Mhm.
going to insult people and stuff like that. So I'm just getting started. Okay. So every
Let's go.
average little dumbass out there is, regular job. You're regular as hell. What do you mean regular? You're regular talking to another regular person, telling them about their dreams as though they were not just a regular average person. So my first issue with this is you need to evaluate people thoroughly, okay? And see, okay, well, is this someone that's really extra, extra, extra special that can be out there on the tail end of the bell curve and therefore, or break out of the mold, and therefore we can be making certain special exemptions for, such as giving advice about, oh, it doesn't matter what's practical, pragmatic, or logical. Her words. Doesn't matter what's logical, doesn't matter what's practical, doesn't matter what regular people do. This is a regular person. But anyways, any thoughts so far?
Oh yeah. I mean, basically, what you were saying, but it's frustrating that um, folks actually think that this is good advice. You know, they actually think. You know what? Even if the advice was given to a person that was capable, someone that really did have all of the requisite natural ability, someone that actually was an Einstein.
Mhm.
Okay, it's still bad advice.
100%.
Okay,
And we'll get into why exactly that means, what that is. I like to tease that out with you.
sure.
But let's continue playing the video as to why that is still bad. Okay. Shout out fair use. Let's go.
Saying that's always the backup plan, but it's never the main plan. Oh, I need to do something practical. No, do exactly what you want to do. Put everything into it. Just because it doesn't work on the first time or the first opportunity or the first door, just keep going, because the consistency is all it takes to get you there, and the belief in yourself is the thing that separates you to the person that's out there chasing that same dream. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So just go for it. Like, it don't matter what seems more logical or what's the smarter thing to do. Go after your dream with everything you got.
Okay, y'all not gonna be giving these people bad advice now. We're not having that.
I didn't give no bad advice. These people in the comments, they don't get it.
I'm not looking at the comments. I just know what listen. My number one thing is, and I tell these dudes all the time, fuck your dreams. Don't nobody give a fuck about your dreams. We fuck
Find
your dreams.
Practical. I think that's what came.
Don't know. I said the opposite of that.
I know you said the opposite of that. I say fuck your dreams. That's what I tell them.
My thing is, do something that is going to sustain what you need to be sustained.
No. That's
my
no.
For me,
gentlemen,
we got gas.
We got gas. Gentlemen,
okay, we have gas.
Tap in with Anton. Trust me.
Real quick. Let me say this real quick.
Every last one of these, I'm richer than your favorite rapper. Let's be clear.
Young boy just said his daddy is in his life.
Yeah, that was amazing.
His daddy is his best friend.
Yep.
The only thing he needs to do, he can get the supplements from everywhere else. He need to lock in with his dad.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
I hear you.
Well, we didn't get enough information with somebody. That, though.
He needs to lock in with somebody that's outside of his circle that can push him in ways and teach him things that he has not normalized and gotten used to. We need to get outside of our comfort zone and align ourselves with people that's doing something completely different.
Say that for after hours.
I had a question for Anton. So I put in the super chat, but I guess he didn't see it. I just wanted him to address when he said, fuck your dreams. No disrespect. I didn't take it offensively. I just want some perspective on what he meant.
You have a better chance, an infinitely better chance at being super duper successful by just being intentional and being disciplined and being focused on leveling up. You don't have to go into a lot of student debt in order to become successful. If you decide to go to college, maybe you should go into something that's actually going to be, good for you where you can write your own ticket. if you are intentional, right, and you decide not to fall into the same lulls that everybody else falls into as far as making sure that you become successful, you ultimately can write your own ticket. If you go into cybersecurity, if you go into software engineering, you can do anything you want to, and there is plenty of people that become millionaires every single day versus trying to play the lottery and the odds of following your dreams. Because a lot of times when people say follow your dreams, or when people follow their dreams, often at times they just do the thing that prolongs what they're going to have to do when they become an adult anyway, right?
Facts.
There's a small chance of you making it into the NBA. It's a very, very, very small chance of you being a successful rapper. And even if you do, that does not mean that you're going to be successful long term, or that you even gonna make money doing it, right? And if you decide to follow your dreams, you can do that in addition to whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing anyway, right? I got a really good friend from Detroit, and he wound up being a pretty significant rapper. But while he was following his rap dreams, he also wound up becoming a doctor. He's a practicing physician today. My point is that
okay. So there's something about what he just said that relates to something that D wrote down there in the chat, which is, you see these capable people you were talking about, Dr. Thunder, just like this rapper who also became a doctor. I don't really think they need advice from these eggheads or these idiots. Eggheads is a different kind of idiot, right? Intellectual yet idiot. I think IWI. I think that's Nassim Taleb's construction. Okay, you have the intellectual yet idiot types, and then you have these average idiots, right? That doctor, okay, I'm going to be a rapper, I'm going to be a doctor. Those people don't come here talking about their dreams. They don't tell you about their dreams. They're doing stuff, and they know what's pragmatic, what's practical. They can walk and chew gum and all those other kinds of things. Let me play a little bit more of this, see where he's gonna land here. Okay, see where he's gonna land, and then we'll continue. Oh, I pushed the back thing, and now it's gonna act up. Let me pause it.
Well, while we're waiting for it to buffer a little bit, you know, so I teach, I teach jazz saxophone students, and I have taught and trained a bunch of really talented musicians over the years. And even with the most naturally capable musicians, I've always sort of pushed them to understand that they need multiple streams of income, that they need to be versatile, they need to be able to do multiple things.
That you even gonna make money doing it.
Finish your
thought. I mean, yeah. So I've always pressed the multiple streams of income. You're going to have to do the things that nobody wants to do. To the extent that you do the things that nobody wants to do, that's going to actually mean more success for you than if you drop everything and move to New York. Because you're really selling out for your dream. You really believe in it, and
I think you're also just a little disgusted because because of the emotional mess of that whole
look, man, I don't care. Look, this you ain't Buster Moon, and this ain't Sing, okay? And I'm sorry, it's not a Rocky movie. This is like this is real life. And so you telling folks to do that kind of thing, to take those kinds of risks without having any I don't know, I take that really seriously. If I was pumping my students' heads full of all of this kind of smoke, oh yeah, you can make it. All you have to do is just, to folks that are average talent at best, right? And I'm, pumping their head full of stuff, and trying to tell, oh, you just have to get out there and just do it, take a risk, you know. If I was doing that and then stuff was happening where people were falling flat on their face left and right, I'd be responsible for that.
Dr. Thunder,
Uh,
last week we just did a show about fear. We told people to walk into the fear. We told
yeah.
people to push the envelope. We
That's
told
right.
people to take risks. Okay. Now, here's the thing about
Calculated risks. Calculated
okay.
risks.
Here's the thing about it's also true of certain kinds of philosophy. It's like you already got to know. Uh, for example, to read Friedrich Nietzsche, Nietzsche is not going to tell you anything you don't already know
Mhm.
if you're in a certain group. And then for everyone else, they're like, this guy's crazy. What is he talking about? He just doesn't make any sense. He is rambling. He's talking in circles, right? That's typically how it goes. So Dr. Thunder last week says, follow, chase, go ahead and make sure that you are expanding, make sure that you're always afraid, blah, blah, blah. The content of that really is somebody already knows what makes them afraid. Somebody already knows the steps to take in the directions of improvement, right? That'll that they will otherwise not take because they're comfortable, right? Because our admonishment was to not be comfortable. Do not be comfortable, right? But people whom are confused already and don't understand you, Dr. Thunder, are going to be like, but you told me to chase my fears and whatever and take a chance. And now you're telling me not to follow my dreams. And then you're like, do I have to explain it? This is the issue with certain kinds of advice in the sense that there's always these shelves that you're at. And you're only talking to people whom know already what you're saying to a certain degree. Okay. And again, this is true of a lot of philosophy. You're not going to learn anything from a philosopher that you don't already kind of know. They'll kind of give you a structure to it and certain other kinds of things, and you're going to gravitate towards the people that the ways of think, the different ways of presenting information. You're going to gravitate towards. I will gravitate towards Nietzsche, for example, because I like that crazy, wild, intuitive way, and I don't like this kind of crazy logician way of doing things. Step A, step B, step C, step D. It's like, I already know what Z is. I don't want to hear your A, B, C, D crap. Nietzsche just jumps to Z, for example. So, what you're doing here, Dr. Thunder, is there a contradiction? I want you to then resolve this, even though I've tried to. Resolve the fact that last week you told people to take risks, and now you're telling them to not go to New York. What are you saying, Dr. Thunder?
I'm saying take calculated risks. You need to know what's going on. Remember, I gave the definition of the biblical word, the Greek word for faith, also sometimes confidence, trust. It's the word pistis. And pistis is a legal term which literally means to argue to the point of belief. Okay, so when I say take a risk, I'm saying take a risk in that sense. Okay. I'm not saying, you don't have any skill, you don't have any capability, you don't know anybody. Let me move. Look, I know great musicians. Listen to me. I know great musicians, people that are, top 1% musicians in the world that have sold out. I mean, they've sold out in the sense that I'm going all in on this particular thing. Moved to New York, and within 6 months had to move back with their parents. Okay? Look, it's not just how great you play. It's all of these other logistics that you have to have worked out. When I tell students, hey, the students that I think have enough natural ability to be able to handle it on a scene like New York, what I tell them is, look, you should go to grad school out in New York, because that way that gives you 24 months. Say if you do a master's degree and it's a 2-year program, that'll theoretically give you like 24 months to be establishing yourself on the scene. Now, you have to treat it like you're working 2 jobs, though. You're going to school, you're getting your grades, you get your full assistantship, it's being paid for. You're living, your room and board and all that stuff is being taken care of. So you don't have to worry about that. But then you're busting your butt. You're out until 3 a.m. every night at clubs, at jam sessions, doing all this other stuff. So you're not going to be sleeping very much for this 2 years. But that's a way that you can actually break into the scene, and you're moving there for something that you're actually doing. Another approach would be to get a job in New York. I'm not talking about waiting tables. I'm talking about get a job.
Yeah.
And so now you're there working, and then your side hustle is what you really want to be doing. And then over time, you work that side hustle into your primary thing. And see, that's an approach where, look, and I might not, tell students, F your dreams, but but I might, but I will give them an approach that will test their mettle. It's going to be challenging. You can't avoid, something that Anton said towards the end of what you were playing was, often is the case that this whole follow your dreams thing is people's approach to, retard their maturity. Like they don't want to do the things, the grown up stuff. They're still trying to be a kid and not getting on to grown folk stuff. And what they need to do is they need to approach that quote unquote dream like a grown person and be pragmatic and practical and start implementing steps and get some strategy together. But that's the stuff that they don't want to do, right? Because that steals the joy, right? Right. That makes it less of a it's like less of a surprise or something. Like it's less, mystical and less, cosmic and all that kind of crap.
It's particularly disgusting when men do this kind of stuff. Okay, if I put my cards on the table, because I, as I mentioned, I said that there is a part of you that is just kind of disgusted with the fact that some dude is talking about following his dreams and telling you about his dreams, and we'll get into that. We'll get into it. Okay, after we finish playing this video, and there's something else I want to ask you about. You telling these different students what you notice about the receptivity of it. Is it true that there's some whom are already kind of calculated? Maybe they're just needing somebody you to fill in certain little gaps, right? And like, oh, okay, cool. I'm gonna do what Dr. Thunder said, right? This is a practical kind of person. And there's some who are just crazy hippies, and maybe they don't end up in your class. Those kinds of people. But we know the crazy hippie type who will just never listen, anyways. And they have a rebuttal. They have a problem for every solution you give them, right? It's always a yeah, but, and blah, 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 and the system or whatever, all that kind of stuff. So there is a problem that we're facing here, but we'll get into it. We'll get into it more. Shout out to the super chatter. You want to go ahead and give us a sound effect and read the super chat, sir, before we continue?
Absolutely. Yeah, so this is Lord Commander with the $5 super chat. Big difference between knowledge and intelligence. People confuse the two. Intelligence is how the knowledge is applied. Interesting. Good.
All right. Let's continue. This idea of applied knowledge, which is called wisdom, which perhaps is more accessible when you call it critical thinking, perhaps, is something that is a crucial aspect, because it's not about your synapses firing. It is your ability to grok the world in a realistic sense and then overcome those little things in you, emotional barriers in you, that'll make you do childlike things like, well, this is not wonderful and dreamlike enough, therefore I'm not going to do it, right? So those are the things that is the realm in which critical thinking and wisdom consists, right? It is in this kind of practicality, not in just having the brain cells that work, right? But
Can, can I
go
say
ahead.
something here? Something occurred to me. And look, man. So there is this. Okay, so there's a difference between childlike and childish, right? So
Mhm.
you want to keep your childlikeness. That's the openness to wonder, still with the ability to be amazed and in awe, right? Um, and unfortunately, a lot of folks they tend to lose that as they get older, and as they have experienced more things, stuff tends to have less of an effect, right?
Mhm.
Now, I think it's because they're not really probing deeply, because, if you're just looking at stuff on the surface, pretty soon, like everything starts to look the same. But if you're actually probing down, then it's like, oh, snap, everything really is different still. It's just you have to be asking the right questions, you know. And I was thinking about this, the biblical. Okay, so there's this miracles thing, right? So if you're sort of relying on miracles to sustain you, as you become more mature, that's going to become a problem. That's going to become a problem quickly. So you have to get beyond that. But then the other aspect of this is what we consider to be miracles.
Mhm.
Okay, so there's oh, that guy had a broken leg and now he can walk. Okay, there's that kind of miracle. But then there's the kind of miracle that sort of like a practical wisdom. It's someone had the wisdom to judge something a particular way, and it had a certain impact on your life's trajectory. That's also
Mhm.
a certain kind of miracle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and the thing about that kind of miracle is that that kind of miracle can be manufactured.
Mhm.
It can be recreated, as opposed to the other kind of miracle where you're supposed to sit around waiting and hoping that something is going to happen. And you've ran yourself into a corner. And if you don't get this miracle, everything's going to fall apart.
Mhm. 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 Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm always waiting for or looking at disappointments and the lemons that life throws you, of which I just got within the last 24 hours. I just got some crazy lemons thrown at me. Uh, Maybe we'll talk about that some other time. But after you catch your breath, I'm always gonna then look like, okay, cool. There are two things that happen. It recalibrates what you thought was crazy or what you thought was a problem before, right? Whenever you have a bigger problem come, you're gonna be like, you know what? That other thing I was worried about, that little thing I was scared of, I'm gonna do it, right? Because
Yep.
it changes. It's like a blessing to your whole miracle stuff. When you have this
Um,
big problem come and you were worried about this little thing, oh, should I start this business here or should I do this thing? And then you get hit with this big thing, you're like, boom, that business is started. Like that's nothing compared to this one, right? And also, there's always other kinds of opportunities that surround it. It's like, okay, cool. If I'm gonna have to wait one more year for X to happen, that means that within that year I can do Y. Okay. I was worried before how I was gonna get X and Y done, but I'm going to double down on Y right now since X was delayed. All those kinds of things are the way to go. I said, hey, this is after you dust yourself off. People forget that the dusting yourself off and that the emotional blow and all that stuff, that's going to happen, right?
Wait a
This is
minute.
not robotics.
I thought that you didn't have feelings.
I'm the guy that always talks about feeling, image, and talk. I'm the guy that always talks about mastering your subjective consciousness, and it's
Yeah.
mastering of it. It's got to be there for you to master it. So you gotta take that blow, and as you take the blow, your intuition is gonna start showing you the opportunities. But anyways, let's continue with
I,
this. The last few
I,
minutes
I
of
did
this.
want to say I did want to say a sort of goofy version of the first thing that you said. Um, you're talking about when you get some bad news that or when something is really big, then the other stuff seems like, oh well, this stuff wasn't anything anyway, right? And something that I do with my son frequently is, you know, he'll come to me and he'll say, "Oh, my arm is hurt," or like this, And of course, first of all, I know it's not serious, and then I say, "Well, I can apply Daddy's cure." And he never wants Daddy's cure because he knows what Daddy's cure is. Mommy's cure is to like kiss it, and to like put a band-aid on it like this. Daddy's cure is is to I tell him is I can give you
Punch him in the
some.
stomach.
That's right. I can punch you in the stomach, and then you won't the scrape on your arm won't won't seem like much. So I would I would be creating a worse problem, but in that I would be dissipating the pain in the scraped arm. So and part of it is because it's a joke. It's fun, and it actually gets him to stop thinking about what's going on. But yeah.
Child Protective Services, get him on the line. D, call him.
Right. And if you decide to follow your dreams, you can do that in addition to whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing anyway. Right. I got a really good friend from Detroit. He wound up being a pretty significant rapper. But while he was following his rap dreams, he also wound up becoming a doctor. He's a practicing physician today. My point is that if you're really trying to be successful, and if you really want to follow your dreams also, then you can do both. You can work full time, you can go to college, and then you can do whatever it is that you want to do on the side. You can nurture that dream. If it means that much to you, then you will dedicate yourself to being successful in that other thing while you're also taking care of your business as a man. You see what
Yes. Okay, so now I always talk about, these various hierarchies, and I mentioned that the top of my hierarchy is a certain kind of philosopher art thing. Okay, um, that really is the top of it, and that two rungs down really is the mercantile commercial money thing. Okay, but I know that it is the money thing that allows me to do everything else.
Right.
Okay. And the money thing operates within a market, right? Money is a social instrument. You can't just make up your own money. Okay. Okay. Again, even if you go in the blockchain and you write up some new code for a new coin, it still depends on other people coming into it, not only to run the blockchain and mine the thing, but also to exchange. So within the marketplace, there are constraints, there is pragmatism, there's opportunism, there's things that work and things that people want to buy, and there's levels of skill that you need to have in order to make that money. So if I'm going to do the top of my hierarchy is philosophy and the next below is art, and then below that is the money stuff. Okay, but money is very important for me to be able to do my philosophy and my art and my teaching and my writing of songs and my writing of books and my whatever, all those things that I like to do. If I don't understand completely that being very good at the money game is necessary for me not to be some silly bum out there complaining about how people don't want it, how, it's always been my dream to be a singer. It's like, well, go freaking sing then. Well, oh, but if how can I eat? Well, then go figure out how to eat and sing. Okay.
Right.
Now, having said that, Dr. Thunder, there are two things that have become obvious here. There is a pragmatic aspect to F your dreams. And let's start there. That's the area
Yep.
we've been around. But also, then there's a cynical aspect to F your dreams, which we haven't gotten to, which just says, you know what? Dreams are fairy tales. They're for little girls, specifically, not even little boys. Okay?
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
They're for fairy tales and Disney movies, and I don't want to hear about it. Like this is a hard nosed dog eat dog world, and you got to do what you got to do, and all that dream stuff is crazy. Maybe it worked when your dreams were constrained within the particular tribe, and yeah, you knew that you could achieve X because it was within the social context that was going to put you there. But in this crazy
Hmm.
individuated world where you have millions and millions and millions of people and no one cares about your dreams, you have to focus on what the market tells you. Okay, this giant computer out there, which is the market, signaling to you via prices where the directions to go are. That's what you depend on, and F your dream. So that's the cynical part. But let's kind of completely round out the
Can,
pragmatic part. Go ahead.
here, I want to read some of the super chat. We've got some good folks in here as always. Gail at Night is in here. Red sings the blues. D's in here. Got a bunch of usual suspects. Snuggles, Aaron B, Young Swift, uh, Leroy, who's been pretty persistent and consistent as of late. Thanks for being here. You can support the show. Likes are free. Share the video. Sharing the video really helps us. Subscribe to Ike's channel. Lots of great content on this channel. And you know what? You can reach in your pocket too. Super chat is there, and remember, we will take your EBT and we'll give you half cash value on your food stamps. So, but I did want to read a couple things that Red put in here. Let's see here. I'll just read kind of his stream of consciousness here. He says, "Make your dreams a reality in New York, then come back to me." He says, "I had dreams, but I have to live in reality. I'm a failed musician, not because I sucked, but because there was less money in it. I had no problem being in bands, but the problem was great music, but short-lived, and I needed a job. So became a crew guy. A crew guy was more practical, And I'm gonna say, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something. In some folks, and especially young folks, would say, "Oh, he gave up on his thing. Oh, he wasn't strong enough to do his dream." But actually, he's actually put himself in a scenario where he's still close to what it is that he wants to do, doing it in a practical fashion. Plus, obviously, we know the stuff that he's doing on YouTube with his podcast, which is ever growing. So he's actually putting himself closer in a way that will make it more accessible. Dare I say, more realistic. I usually don't like the term realistic because realistic often incorporates too much of what other people think. to be healthy for you to go after what you need to go after. Because sometimes your parents, they mean well, your friends, they mean well, your colleagues, they mean well, whoever you're sharing the stuff is, they mean well, but they're telling you absolutely wrong. And to Anton's point from earlier, which was the kind of brief highlight clip at the beginning of the video, when he said no, you don't need to. What's the name? Chicago Rilla said, hey, you need to you know, get around your dad, like get close to your pot. And he said no. He said you need to get out of your comfort zone. You need to get around some folks that actually know some stuff, that can get you going in the right direction. Not, because look, your family mean well, your family love you, but they'll tell you a bunch of garbage often. And that's just facts.
Yeah. And this is just because, what's the sample there, right? You're born into some family, some group of people. What are the chances that these people are the people that you should be listening to? I'm sure it's pretty close to zero, right? I mean, some people, and if you're born into a family when, oh my God, I'm Brett Weinstein's my cousin. Maybe I'll listen to Brett Weinstein about evolutionary biology, right? But if Brett Weinstein's not your cousin and you just listen to your cousin because he's your cousin, that's stupid. Okay. Shout out to Big Mac the Fisher, I believe. Thank you very much for the $5 super chat. You say we should split a coffee. And toast to you, sir. Yes.
Thank you.
That is
This
a
ain't
good
coffee,
coffee
but
there.
it's water. But
I got coffee. I got water. I got my pimp cup. Okay, I'm ready
well,
today.
well, given what time it is there, you need the coffee.
Yeah. It's pretty early over here. Anyways, so I said that there are two aspects. There's a cynical part, which just says, I don't want to hear nothing about this dream stuff. It's all garbage, anyways. All this passion crap. Do what you got to do. Cutthroat, Wolf of Wall Street, rah, right? Then there is the practical, pragmatic, opportunistic. Okay, you're going to need strategy and all that kind of stuff. Go to New York. Let me see here. In terms of the practical, pragmatic side of things, there are a few things that we can state because you've given examples. But if we were to break it down, we could say something like, well, you don't know what you don't know, right? So when people come to you and say that they have this dream, okay, and they're like 19 years old, right? It's like, well, what do you even know about the world for you to even have a solid dream with a concrete content? It might be the case that on your way up to that mountain peak, which is far away now and it's kind of covered in haze, you're going to find out that, you know what? There's another mountain behind it, or there's another mountain to the side, or you know what? This mountain peak was not what I thought it was, right? As a matter of fact, this little village here that I stopped by, I think this is where my dream really is. So the idea of continuing with this whole pragmatic thing, the idea is you don't know what you don't know, and then detours and disappointments are inevitable, and they often hide certain other opportunities. Correct?
Absolutely. But of course, you as an intuitive would naturally notice that or be willing to change your plan to to accommodate that. Some folks, they get so locked in on whatever it is that they're saying that they want to do that they don't have the capability to, reinvent themselves, you know, test the terrain, Red Sings of Blues said here, he says, YouTube or being a YouTuber wasn't a dream he had. Actually, he didn't want to do that, but he saw growth. And so he continued. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so often you remember, and this is in this show must have been 5 or 6 months ago that we did. But one of the pieces of advice that we offered was, if you're not sure what you're going to do or what you with your life, the first thing to do is to get a job.
Mhm.
Get a job. See, the thing is when you get a job and you start working that job, something may actually emerge out of that. You may learn some things about, it's like, wait a minute, if I stick around in this job, there's some upward mobility here. There's some possibility to learn some skills. Then it's like, oh, I learned that I actually like this one thing or whatever it is. You can also learn aspects of it that you really don't like. You can be like, well, I know I'm not working at McDonald's again. Fast food is not for me, right? So you can learn, or AutoZone. Say, I prefer working at AutoZone than than I do working at, the Dairy Mart or something, right? And so you'll learn those things, but the first thing is to get a job. And so when you get that job, it's not because you're going to stay there. It's because you're just walking through a door and you don't know what's on the other side of that door. And then you can kind of start making things happen as things start to develop. Again, it's that principle of the steering wheel in the car, that I like so much. The steering wheel in the car is only useful with momentum. So the car must be moving. Now you could actually literally be moving in the wrong direction, exactly in the opposite direction. But the steering wheel will allow you to turn the course, to change the course of the car. I mean, it's the principle of a rudder also, of course, in a boat. It's the same thing. So, but you have to actually be moving. So so as long as you're moving in a particular direction, then you can always kind of look around and see what's happening. You don't have to have the perfect idea at the beginning. You don't have to have the perfect idea. You don't have to be right in the beginning. You can discover what's right along your path. Red Sings the Blues. Our good friend. Man, we got to do another panel discussion on your channel, Red. Red Sings the Blues, $5 super chat. Take it from a failed musician and struggling stagehand as of my slow season right now. F your dreams. Failure isn't an option. Men know this. That's facts. Men know this. Men know this. Okay. So you can find out something about that. So this is a key to knowing if you're a man or not. Okay. Now you could be male and not know this, and that okay, all right. So I'm not gonna solve that.
Okay. So this is the whole responsibility aspect of the pragmatism thing, because there are many things about the pragmatism which have to do with, okay, so the context here is success, whatever that means to you. Okay. Generally speaking, we know what it means, but it pertains to various aspects. And then you have a dream that you want to be successful at. And then also you want some economic and financial success because you got to eat and all that kind of stuff. And ideally, you want your dream and this economic success and all that stuff to be paired together. And then we're saying, oh, you don't know what you don't know. Allow yourself room to grow. Allow yourself room to change along the journey as well. Be practical. Take this little side gig here. Start the vehicle moving so that you can then use the steering wheel to turn around. And then finally, to what Red Sings the Blues says, you have a responsibility, damn it, right? So that should also be, that is above what you think success is your goddamn responsibility. Okay? As a man, as a human being, to produce. Okay? So that should always be above the other thing, which is like, no, you need that. So therefore, that's the whole pragmatism thing if rounded out. Let's go in for a second on the cynical side of things, okay? The cynical side of things, which says, really F your dreams. Okay, this is not about defer your dreams, allow your dreams to morph and change a little bit, take opportunities you don't know, blah, blah, blah. This one just says, F your dreams. Now, This is an attitude taken by certain types of people towards other types of people. I don't think that the cynical view is really practical. I myself speak that way from time to time. But again, I'm that person with that attitude, and I'm speaking to a particular type of person. Let me give you some context, Dr. Thunder, or maybe I want you to give me context because I know you probably have had this experience. There's something quite off-putting about hearing a man tell you about his dreams. Okay. And I mean, it's not that 95% of the time you've seen this guy bust his ass, you've seen him show competency and so on and so forth. And then one time while you guys are at a bar towards the tail end on the last drink, he tells you, you know what I really like to do, Dr. Thunder? I would like to pop, 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 pop. That's good. Okay. I'm talking about the guy who 95% of the time he's just telling you about that crap. You don't see the competence. You don't see the drive. You don't see the actual practical skill. You don't see him grinding. You don't see him doing anything. He's never done anything. Okay. Now, the reason why I say that you probably have examples because in my super part-time music stuff, I see this kind of music people all the time in the sense that you have the practical people whom are grinding, they're doing their stuff. He shows up with his backpack and his whatever every time. He sets up his gear, he plays his music. He doesn't tell you what he's doing and all that other stuff. And then you have the other guy who's constantly telling you, oh, we should quit our jobs. Or, I want to be the next Eminem or blah, 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 blah. That's the kind of guy that I say, you know what? F your dreams. And I'm quite cynical about that one. Like, I don't like you have demonstrated that you do not deserve a dream is a privilege in this particular viewpoint. And you have not demonstrated that you deserve this privilege of a dream. A dream is reserved to the person whom has shown 95% of the time that they bust their ass, they're competent, they're pragmatic. And yes, I'll listen to you after the last drink one time. Okay, one time. You get one time, okay, to tell me about your dreams. But if all you're doing all the time is dream crap, then this is F your dreams. So the cynical part, and I want you to respond to everything I just said there. The cynical part with the beginning being that it is an attitude of someone like me, for example, who just hates that kind of crap, talking to someone like that guy who only just talks about their goddamn dreams. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, no, I can't deal with them cats. What's the thing? Get busy living or get busy dying. Shawshank Redemption, which is one of my favorite movies, by the way. Okay, okay. So this saying. There's this saying that the cemetery is the what is it? The most valuable place on earth, or where's the richest place on the earth, or the most valuable, like this is the cemetery, because there's the most unfulfilled dreams. Okay. That saying, I know that it gets, that's like a clickbaity thing. It's a, you can get some house. You can get some house if you say that. People will clap for you. Rah rah, all of that. It's touching, but. But F your dreams. If you didn't do anything when you were alive to make those dreams a reality, then those dreams were not worth anything. I'm sorry that, and maybe that sounds, I'm a religious person. I do believe that often people can miss what it is, quote unquote, what their destiny is, and that's another discussion. But the thing is that if you didn't do anything, if you did not do anything when you were alive to realize those dreams. Look, ideas are cheap. Everybody has ideas. Creativity, I'm sorry to say this, creativity is cheap. Everybody has that. In fact, every person has the potential of great creativity. Every person. Now, I didn't say that they were smart. I didn't say that it was going to change the world, but all of us have the possibility of tremendous creativity. All right. However, getting an idea and actually walking it out is a different matter. And I'm sorry, but the walking it out is the more valuable matter. The
100%, Dr.
walking it
Thunder.
out
This is
is the
something
thing that nobody wants to do.
I've noticed this thing. Here's another thing about the F Your Dreams cynical aspect. We just gave this particular one character. He's the lazy guy, right? Or he's kind of warped in his head. He's always talking about how you should drop everything or we should drop, and that whole we thing is what I hate too. It's like, don't tell me about we. Who the hell is we? What the hell have you done? You got to talk about we.
Yeah,
Get the
yeah,
fuck
yeah,
out of here.
yeah, yeah.
Anyways,
Softens the
so
blow.
so there is the other kind of cat who is perhaps very smart, and they're also quite capable. But here's what I've noticed about some very, very smart people whom I've met. Okay. And I'm talking about people who blow the IQ charts and also have some kind of crazy, they've achieved certain things. Okay. But their whole thing is, if I don't come up with the next crazy technology that completely revolutionizes the world and I become a billionaire, a la Zero to One by Peter Thiel, good book. In other words, they want to do the 0 to 1 thing where like there's not this thing that I'm going to create never existed before. And I'm just going to create it. If I don't do until I do that, I don't want to do anything. Those people are a complete waste of my time, and they're going to be a complete waste of your time too. Now, I have some fun talking to them from time to time until I'm done, and then it's done. Okay, like you hang out, you ideate, as you say, ideas are cheap. They're going out there with their crazy intuitions. They're talking about the universe and this and that, and they can go from Spinoza, the god of Spinoza, to quantum mechanics to blockchain, all within a sentence. Okay, but when it actually comes down to, well, how about you just build an app, okay, and go out there and get a job and start getting clients? How about you go out there and participate and struggle and sweat a little bit in the marketplace, okay, just so that you can begin to generate an engine, get something moving? They're like, nah, it's kind of boring. It's not the next big revolutionary idea. It's not going to change the world. I don't know if you know those guys. Not obviously these are small. This is a smaller group. The first group we talked about, there's a lot of people, but there's a smaller group of people whom are very talented, whom can do things, and maybe they have a small job, but they could do more. They're like, hey, why aren't you doing more? If you can sit here and talk to me about these kinds of things, why aren't you doing more? They're like, nah, it's not going to revolutionize the world, so why try? That's a case of your dreams being too big, right? Or I don't know. I just ruined it by saying that. Any comments on that type of person?
Yeah, I mean, and there's like a happy medium, I suppose, because you don't want to be doing so much stuff that you're no good at anything. So you need to buckle down and make sure that, and I would suggest that, so I play a lot of instruments and I do a lot of different things, but I didn't develop those things at the same time. Okay. And what you're going to need is a critical mass of time where you can be very much devoted to a particular discipline, very much devoted to that, to spend several hours a day over, a series of several months, years like that. That's what's necessary if you're going to get any good. Okay, now, once you get to a certain critical mass of time spent, then you can maintain with lesser amount of time. Just kind of doing something consistent, but not necessarily as intense or as much time involved. And at that time, that's when you can shift to focusing on something else. So when I say that there's a happy medium, I'm saying, yes, the person that ain't doing nothing and has been coasting for all this time, they actually could be developing themselves to a greater degree. And I don't really have a lot of, it's kind of like what Kevin Samuels says, if you're broke and you ain't working at least 60 hours, stop, don't talk to me. I don't care about that. That is the solution, is more work, right? So it's kind of like that. It's like you're just lazy. You just don't want to do what it takes. But like I said, on the other side of that, you want to make sure that you're not doing so much stuff so that you're no good at anything. And so in my acquisition of skills, it's always been a seasonal thing where I really dumped a lot of my energy and effort into something. Then I got a certain critical mass of skill. And then I was like, okay, I can still continue to grow in those skills. But I can look at, I can start focusing or on something else at the same time. So anyhow, yeah.
Leroy here is saying something that about, and it dovetails with what I'm going to go to in the next two steps, but it's about being self-taught. And most things you don't need a degree for in order to operate within the market, right? You don't necessarily need a degree for it. It tends to be actually, I don't know if it's still true now, but before you can get an engineering license, it'll take you a long time, but without actually having an engineering degree. You got to really, really work in the industry and demonstrate, blah, 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 blah. It's going to take you longer than somebody that has an engineering degree to get that license. But then education, about 90% of education happens outside of school. And that's why here's how I usually, now I don't completely dismiss somebody when they say this, but this is a big red flag for me. When they said, if anybody that says they should have taught us that in school, or why don't they teach us this in school? That's a red flag, because what the hell are you talking school? Who the hell told you were supposed to learn about life in school? Oh, they should teach us this in school. The reason I'm a failure is because Miss Sandy didn't teach me this in the third grade. She should have told me this in the fifth grade. How come they're not teaching this? Get the hell out of here with that crap. You're a freaking human being, and education has nothing to do with the silly institutions and the pieces of paper that you're getting. That's some other kind of practical thing. Okay, that's what that whole little schoolhouse is. Partly daycare, partly Studio 51 nightclub, so you get in the club in the case of something like a Harvard, right? It's a red velvet rope around it so that you can get in the club, and when you get in the club, okay, now you're part of the club. Partly XYZ. But really, 90% of your actual education and what you should know out in the world is out in the world. I hate that they should have taught us stuff in school crap. When people start saying, I'm just like, oh my God. Anyways, I give them a chance to say some more, and then maybe I don't completely dismiss them, but I almost completely write anybody off once they start saying that crap about, they should have taught us this in school. What the hell do you, what? Anyways, so being an autodidact myself, which not everybody is, I heavily, maybe I'm on the extreme end, right? I'm like, what are you talking about school? Like, what do you mean school? Go out there and learn, improve, skill up. What are you talking about school, right? That's an extreme thing. Maybe, being in the middle is probably better. But generally speaking, education, I know why you're laughing. Education, in terms of what you talk about, these education institutions and whatnot, is not where it's at. Any reactions to what I just said and also to Leroy's question there.
Yeah, it's this is interesting. So, Dr. Thunder. So I actually have a doctorate. It's not just a clever marketing strategy. Um, and I've spent a lot of time in school, and for a person that really didn't like school, that's it's kind of a funny thing. I just kept going back, and I went back. Now granted, all of my degrees were full scholarship, assistantship kind of degrees, where I didn't know money associated with acquiring the degrees. I had natural ability and time spent perfecting a craft and institutions that were interested in the skills that I had. And and a lot of that was accrued way before I went to college. I started when I was 6. I was practicing several hours a day. I had CDs out before I went to college, projects out. So that was a way that my dad sort of foresaw sort of me writing my own sort of path. Now, as far as my view on degrees, unless your job requires a certain degree, I don't see the value of a degree.
Mm-hmm.
The job that I have, I'm a tenured professor, required degrees. So I got the requisite degrees. If it did not require that, in fact, I didn't even want to go to college. I took a year off out after high school, and I was just going to, tour, play music, write music, record. And honestly, if that had panned out really quickly, if I got picked up by a big name artist or something, and they moved me to LA or something, whatever it was, then maybe you wouldn't be hearing from me with on getting ished up with Ike and Dr. Thunder. But college seemed like a path that made sense, and they were paying for it. And so, I took it, and then I kind of followed it, and I started to say, hey, this is maybe I can make my way in this, right? It's kind of one of those kind of scenarios. But yeah, degrees I think are only necessary or only important if you require the degree for your job. If you don't, then education is expensive, as they say. And there are much more streamlined, practical, laser-focused ways to learn the information that you need to make you better for what it is that you want to do.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. And shout out to the iPhone user, taught to me by Dr. Thunder how to know who's an iPhone user. But practitioner has an iPhone. I know that. 999. Thank you very much for the super chat. Or is it a super sticker? Thank you very much. Okay, so we're in this cynical aspect of things. Okay, that's where we are, where we're really saying F your dreams. The reason to tell somebody to F your dreams, the first one is that person who just talks about their dreams. Okay, and it gets very annoying the first time I hear it because I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I haven't seen you do much, but you're telling me about these dreams. Okay, and then the other one is, okay, this person is particularly talented, but they're kind of lazy. They don't want to do something, and their excuse, it's an excuse. They don't want to do something unless it's completely groundbreaking. Okay. Now they have the ability to do something completely groundbreaking, but trust me, okay, before Elon Musk did groundbreaking stuff, he did stuff like PayPal. Okay. Now PayPal, pairing money payments with email, it's not particular, it's not going to Mars, right? But he did all that. And then he did more and more and more and more. These people don't understand that kind of a thing, that there is something to the doing of things, which is way more valuable, as you put it, than the whole talking and the idea stuff. And those ideas will never materialize until you get into the habit of actually doing things. Now, let me give one little thing about why you shouldn't talk about your ideas. Now, people say don't talk about your ideas because the witches out there are going to, they're gonna shit on your dreams. I don't know, something of that nature. But there is a social aspect to what I'm about to say, which is if you tell other people, you go to a cocktail party, okay, you pour stuff in your pimp cup, yes, in your golden pimp cup, you pour it in there, right, and you start telling people about your big ideas and your dreams and what you're doing. What's going to happen? People are going to look at you. They're going to smile. They're going to congratulate you. They're going to say, "Oh, this guy is really going places." What's going to happen? You're going to get a certain amount of satisfaction. And that satisfaction is like poison. The kind of satisfaction you want is the satisfaction of actually doing the thing. But the satisfaction you get, now, some of people vary, okay? Introverts like me, we don't get so much satisfaction from that. But even I do. I get satisfaction from the social scene, right? By somebody saying, "Oh, great, aren't you so smart?" Right? That kind of satisfaction is deadly to your dreams. Okay? Not because those people are witches and they're going to block your dreams, but because that satisfaction quenches your hunger. There's a certain amount of your hunger that is satisfied by giving social reality to these ideas and these dreams without you actually doing it. Hence, you want to have your default to be keep your mouth shut. If you have that feeling of, "Oh, I got to say something," keep your mouth shut, bottle up that feeling. It is rocket fuel so that the next day you pick up the phone and you call the small business administration and you do what you're supposed to do. Use that hunger. Don't satisfy the hunger by telling people. And I'm going to ask for a one in the chat. Can I get a one in the chat if that idea of you saying something to somebody in this, cocktail party, right? Good stuff. Actually gives you satisfaction. It actually will then quench your thirst a little bit. Now, some people are different from others, but if you're talking about this stuff 95% of the time, it is just reducing the chances that you're actually going to go out there and do it. And I don't know if you have any thoughts about that, Dr. Thunder, if what I am saying basically makes sense. And that's one of the reasons why you should keep your mouth shut, because when you get the urge to talk, you're trying to satisfy something. Okay.
Right.
And rather than satisfy it by telling people, you should satisfy it by going and doing the damn thing.
Yep. And they can just be surprised that you accomplished it, or they can find out when everyone else does.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that point. That's a frequent point that you make. And in some ways, that's actually that point that you made frequently has made me sort of adjust the way that I consider that point actually. I don't do a lot of sharing my stuff with folks anyway. That's not that ain't really my thing. I'd rather keep stuff quiet, and then cats be like, "Oh man, this cat was bad. Nobody knew about this guy." I'm always like, I'm almost that guy, and that's of course a different problem, because when you talk about utility, usefulness, and when you talk about actually having an impact, you have to be willing to share the information. So then it's about like, well, when do you share, and how much do you share, and to whom? And in that calculus, your thought process on that issue has been instructive.
Indeed. As I say, default mode should be not to speak. Now, there are reasons to speak. Number one, in order to actually get things done, because if we go back to that other person whom 95% of the time is showing the work, but 5% of the time they share an idea with you, that's the kind of thing. And usually there's a practical reason why they're telling you, right? And maybe it's the right time and you're the right person they're telling, and they know that they know your capabilities. That's actually more functional than telling everybody on some silly cocktail party, right? So there is something else that I want to say as we land the plane here, ladies and gentlemen, which is the plane of getting ish done. Another episode in the books with Ike and Dr. Thunder. And today we're talking about F your dreams. There's a cynical aspect to it, which we've been dwelling on for the past few minutes, which just says, hey, dreams are about Disneyland and fairy tales. And that's for little girls, not for grown men. Okay? And there is a practical, pragmatic, opportunistic, hey, allow yourself to grow. You don't know what you don't know. You're going to need to be able to take this job, take a detour. The line to success, right? That stupid thing everybody knows about how the line is jagged, right? That's that aspect of F Your Dreams, which is opportunistic, pragmatic, and so on. But let's round out the cynical part. And this one is very, very individual. That is for a very specific person. And that's me. I'm not even going to generalize and say, if you're like me, right? For me, the reason why I have the cynical F your dream aspect is because I don't even have the dream category, right? I don't have a specific content in my dream. Okay? Now, let me make it make sense. Okay? Because beyond the whole intuitive part, where it's just a fuzzy thing out there, and I just kind of go, but basically, what I'm trying to do is to try to claw up any hierarchy that I'm adjacent to, right? And to do it on my terms. If there were two pillars, it's I'm going to do it on my terms, right? And that, that doesn't mean I'm a child. I'm still strategic. I know what I can do and what I cannot do. I do what I need to do, right? But it's going to be on my terms. In other words, if I'm going to do music, it's going to be on my terms. People are like, oh, you should do this and you should start going on tour with us and you're very good at on stage or you're a great lyricist and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, do I want to be a touring musician that actually depends on that? No, I don't want to do that, right? So that's like doing the music thing on my terms. Where no, I'm gonna go start an engineering company and then I can do music. Okay, but here is the crux of it. There is a polymath aspect to what I'm saying. In other words, teaching is a dream of mine. Hence, YouTube is a dream of mine. Okay. Writing music is a dream of mine. So when I'm writing music, I'm like, I'm living my dream. When I hit you with that lyrical dopeness, I'm living my dream. Okay. When I'm being a chef is a dream of mine. So I do that. I probably will end up opening that bed and breakfast somewhere at some point, right? And displaying my skills there. That's another dream of mine. Writing books is a dream of mine. So I'm doing that. So when I say I don't have that dream category, there's a slight lie there. The lie is because there are many, many, many dreams. Hence, I'm just trying to claw up onto any hierarchy I find myself adjacent to, trying to get to the top of that as best I can, understanding that there are the trade-offs. There's always the polymath trade-off. I'm not going to be as great a musician as I could be because I'm also trying to be all these other things at the same time. I get it. But I've made a decision a long time ago that I'd rather be the polymath and live the polymath life than to just chase one thing and go all the way there. So again, this is one individual speaking that I don't have that dream category. And the only thing is doing things on my terms, clawing up every freaking hierarchy that I'm adjacent to, and that almost everything I'm doing is my dream. I don't know. Those are my closing thoughts. What you got to say, Dr. Thumb?
Yeah. So, great show, Ike. And I did want to do some shameless plugging. So this is the show that I've got on Thunder's Thoughts this Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Me and Dr. Doug, we're going to be chopping it up on, is dating a form of prostitution? And we're going to be reviewing a CGA live stream where he presented some very interesting a context for the development of dating and the difference between dating and courting. And what he suggests is that there is a connection between dating and prostitution. And in fact, in the past, folks that were engaging in prostitution would be seen out together, getting drinks, taking each other to dinner, all of that kind of stuff. So it's a kind of an interesting thing. So that'll be our show on Thursday. I've got some interesting interviews coming up too. I'm interviewing Sweet Melody Speaks tomorrow night. So Thursday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, there'll be a premiere interview on my Conversations with Dr. Thunder series, and that'll be another Pick Me interview. Collecting those things lately. And then Saturday, Friday, I've got an interview with Donovan Sharp and Devin Sharp. So that's going to be great. That's going to happen Friday, which means that the interview will premiere Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm looking forward to that. We've got a great panel show that Ike and I do with Solo, TV84, and Chantel Simone and Ramil Amir. And that's actually what's playing back there. This past Sunday, that show was on my channel. So you can go and check that out. Check the replay. It was a really, really great conversation. And it was all about, the whole, your preference is not a crime, so it was a very interesting conversation. So we'll 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be on Sunday. We'll be case closing it. And then you'll see us back here on Getting Ish Done on Tuesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. So there's that stuff.
Indeed.
As far as rounding out our conversation, the polymath thing, that also has been my approach. There is a slight, there is a risk of taking too much stuff on. And so that ends up being the thing to try to navigate and balance. And then there is the issue that unless you're dealing with another polymath, people in general don't have the capability usually to see you multifaceted. So we tend to categorize people in the context that we first met them. So if someone saw me playing saxophone, oh, you're the saxophone player. Or if I was playing a bass, and go, oh, you're the bass player, aren't you? You're not supposed to play saxophone. Or, if I'm teaching, oh, you do YouTube too? So it's hard for them. I mean, in the principle that is at work, the way that the brain works, that is at work, is if you saw somebody at the grocery store that you usually would see at church, but that's the only place you ever see them. I know that I have a hard time remembering who it is that's talking to me. And then as soon as they start to say, oh yeah, from church, X, Y, and Z, then it's like, oh, okay, now I know who I'm talking to. Right. So that's an issue. But the second issue is that I think being multifaceted often can create certain insecurities that people have to manifest. because they themselves see themselves as not being as capable, or maybe they feel like they missed out on some opportunities, and they're really mad at themselves, and so it creates a weird, kind of tension. But people don't like it. I mean, often is the case, they don't really like that people do a bunch of stuff. So then it's hard for them to see people as being an expert at many things. A jack of all trades and a master of none, as the saying goes. But I've actually found that many of the more talented, gifted, intelligent folks have been multi-talented and capable at a world-class level in several things.
So, F your dreams. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Until next time, peace.
In the den of iniquity, vicinity no pretty, calamity fi hit we any moment, what a pity. Tomorrow never certain, what was behind the curtain, the face of evil lurking with the shifty eyes averting. It's not a steady bubble, that either pop or topple, many will fall and stumble, let the dozers gather rubble. From LA to Colorado, Guinea to Burkina Faso, cannons could reach the towers and the troops will storm the castle. I say, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. So run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. I say, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. Lord, run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. With the rubble steady rising, and hearts are compromising. Convictions here are stifling, making evil appetizing. The fists are steady forming, and countenance is falling. Defenses are withdrawing, possibilities are falling. In these your circumstances, evil will make advances. Pick up your sword and lances, and be sure to take your stances. Victory is never promised, the battle is upon us. Gather the brave and honest, and the righteous in your corners.